Greetings guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. I hope that you are well, and I hope that you are fighting, because there is a lot to be fighting for. Capitalism. We all know her, we all struggle at the hand of her, and we all have to suffer every single day of our existences to feed her. Why did I gender it like that? I don't know, I just did. I'm sorry. We all know the foundations of capitalism, right? Like, we all know the basics. We all live under capitalism. It's working for your money and buying things and things being privately owned and paying people and they pay you, etc. And over time, it has increased the disparity between the rich and the poor as time has moved on. And right now, presently, that difference is the worst that it has ever been. The middle class is effectively non-existent. It's like disappeared. So many people struggle to live day-to-day lives. It's like nearly impossible to just survive as your own person, let alone people who have families and other people who rely on them. Finding somewhere to live is really hard. The housing market is ridiculous. It costs a fortune to just live anywhere. And that doesn't even take into the fact that groceries are so expensive now. Eating out is almost as affordable as groceries, and that says a lot about it. Water and energy prices have increased, and all that is happening while people higher up, the rich, are getting more and more money. We have normalized the idea that we have to work every day, right? In order to live and survive and just eat and not die, we have to work every day. So that has been normalized. This is the world that we live in. It's really good fun. Super great. Love that. Brilliant. So because we're all mutually agreeing that capitalism is destroying our lives, the lives of everyone, including just the planet and animals in general, we're going to be dealing with this how Gen Z typically deal with our problems. And that's by looking at memes about it, because we laugh at our trauma, you know, that's how we deal. But mixed in with the memes, there are some actual, like, proper conversations that we need to be having. So you'll be surprised. You never know what's coming. But before we do get into it, because, as I say, we live under capitalism, and that means, you know, we have to make money where we can. Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to change your location to just about anywhere in the world. My favorite aspect of this is being able to have access to like Netflix libraries and Disney Plus libraries, etc. in countries that I am not usually able to access, which is super great. Very helpful. There was a time when they took my New Girl away from me and I couldn't watch it anymore, and so I changed my location to the US and I was able to go back to watching New Girl once every 3 months. Currently, I am watching it for the 4th time this year, and it is August, but we don't need to talk about that. But not only is Surfshark a really fantastic tool for being able to watch content that you aren't normally able to, but it also helps to protect your privacy, such as when you are browsing on public Wi-Fi services. It's very easy to like hack into your information from the outside because the Wi-Fi isn't very secure. But if you turn on your VPN and you change your location, it like frazzles up your like location, and so you can't get in. Hackers can't get through the wall to get into your phone. So it protects all your passwords, your credit card information, your banking information, your photos, your identity, all of that, which is usually free for the grabbing, and you don't have to worry about it. You can also use it on unlimited amount of devices at any given time. So you can be sitting in the public library or in Starbucks on your phone and your laptop at the same time, both of them being protected. And that's fantastic. That's very useful if you're like me and you can't do one thing at a time. You need to have 2 devices at all times. You can do that. If all of this sounds good to you, then you can use the link in my description with the code KIWI for 83% off and 3 months completely free, which is fantastic. Thank you so much, Surfshark, for sponsoring today's video. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate when you guys use my links because, again, capitalism, and you help feed me. So thank you, I appreciate it. Now let's get back into the video. All right, so we're starting off with this cute little comic of two little fuzzy guys. What is the one thing that stands between you and all of your dreams? Capitalism. Yourself. The answer is obviously you. I'm pretty sure it's capitalism. Yeah, this felt it. This is exactly it. I've been going through this so much recently. Life has been so stressful. I am currently looking for somewhere to live, right? I live in London and I'm currently living with my auntie and uncle. I am really lucky that I have somewhere to live rent-free while I look for a place to live. I am very aware that that is something that so many people don't have, and I am extremely lucky for that. But we're trying to find a flat, and we are realizing that it is really hard. Not only is it so expensive to find anywhere to live, but landlords for some fucking reason want 12 months of rent up front. In what world? In what world would I have 12 months worth of rent in my bank account? Bro, that's effectively a deposit on a house. If I had 12 months of rent in my bank account, I would buy a house. I'm not going to give it to some shitty landlord, all right? Think of all the things that we would be able to achieve if we weren't constantly being beat with the capitalism stick. If you weren't forced to have to work for every minute of your life, there's so much that you'd be able to achieve. There's so much that you'd be able to do and experience. And you're just not capable of doing it because you have to dedicate your life to working. And that's capitalism, right? It beats you down so you can't grow. You don't have time to work on skills or to adapt or to achieve things or to enjoy life because then you're not being productive part of society. And my golly gosh, is it so dystopian and terrible. It's horrific. It's awful. The society that we live in is fucked. If there was no capitalism, we could achieve so much. We could all do so many cool, fun passion projects and actually achieve your dreams and do what you want to do. But unfortunately, that's not an option for like over 99% of people, which is shit. Cost of living for one adult and one child in North Carolina is a minimum household income of $50,530, which is $24 an hour for a standard 40-hour work week. However, North Carolina's minimum wage is $7.25, and at $7.25 an hour, 134 hours a week is needed to meet minimum household income. And that is disgusting. That's so fucked up. The fact that minimum wage is less than living wage is so morally wrong and should absolutely be illegal. You should not be able to do that. You should not be able to pay people less than is required to be alive. 1 in 5 Gen Z adults would be happy making $60K or less. According to GeoBanking Rate Survey, 20% of Gen Zers said that they would be happy making $40,000 to $60,000. 20% said they would be happy making $60,000 to $80,000, and 22% said they would be happy making $80,000 to $100,000. Fergus Hodgson, an economic columnist and founder and director of Econ Americas, said he was surprised that the majority of Gen Z would be happy making $100,000 or less. I'm slightly surprised with the low expectations, but these individuals are early in their careers and likely placing more importance on experiences and exploring vocational options, he said. The weight of family expenses has yet to hit them. Further, my guess is they are considering roles with many fringe benefits over and above explicit salaries. Or, Fergus, they're settling because $60K, unfortunately, sounds like a lot. That's above average. If you worked a full-time job on minimum wage in North Carolina, where it's $7.50, which is the most insane thing I've ever heard ever, then you are making $15,000 a year. $15,000. So 60 comparatively, fantastic. That's a great jump. You wonder, why are people settling? They must be waiting for better opportunities. No, they just want to be able to live. And that's sad. If you don't view this as something that's sad and you view this as something hopeful and like they're just taking good opportunities, you're absolutely incorrect. People just want to be able to live. Because if you want to like actually enjoy your life and do a lot of like fun things and travel and treat yourself, you do need more money than that. But we have kind of been conditioned to just accept what we get And that is just being able to live comfortably. So yeah, people will settle for 60K because that's more than most people get. So when can we start talking about the fact that exorbitant profits are merely unpaid wages? Exorbitant profits are just unpaid wages. How are people getting billions of dollars? How are people multi-billionaires, multi-millionaires without exploiting people and not paying them? Because like, how does McDonald's, for example, have $160 billion and yet their employees are barely paid enough to pay for food? And the McDonald's CEO makes $21 million per year. Annually makes $21 million. And he doesn't need to be making $21 million per year when the people who work at the bottom are making like, what did we decide? Like 15,000? That seems like a very disproportionate rate considering that there would be no McDonald's at all if those people weren't working. Just distribute it better, man. Distribute it better. You could do that. It's not outside of the realm of possibilities. And don't just like put up the prices whenever you increase wages, because that kind of negates it. And every time people put up prices when they increase wages, the profit just goes up because they increase the price by like 20% when the pay goes up by 10%. That's just performative. You didn't actually do anything. You didn't increase their wages. You increased your profit and pretended to increase their wages, because congratulations, now the price of everything has gone up and they are at minimum wage again. I remember when I was in New Zealand, they put the price of minimum wage up while I was there. And I went to bed with the prices of things being one price, and the next day everything had increased by 20%. Guys, you're kind of negating the purpose of increasing wages. The supermarkets there, like Countdown Supermarket, makes $1 million profit every single day, which is ridiculous. $1 million profit every single day, and yet all their workers are paid like minimum wage. And the groceries are expensive. It's so expensive. New Zealand has some of the most expensive groceries in the world. And literally for no reason. For what? $1 million profit a day? Fuck off. Exorbitant profits means just wealthy CEOs. Jeff Bezos has billions of dollars, right? And yet his employees aren't even allowed to pee. They can't take bathroom breaks at the Amazon warehouses, and they're paid fuck all as well. And yet, how many billions of dollars is he having? Yeah, exactly. Pay your workers, because without them, you literally have nothing. Quiet quitting? No. Acting your wage? Frick yeah, absolutely. And I absolutely agree. I love the idea of like act your wage, and you see people like complaining about it a lot, like, you know, middle class, upper class moms or whatever being like, the waitress didn't smile at me. How rude. Like, honey, she is paid minimum wage. She doesn't have to fucking smile at you. She's not being paid to smile at you. She's being paid to bring you your food. Which is why it's shit in the US and you're expected to like act bubbly and cheery because you rely on tips. That's so annoying. I'm so sorry that that's something that you have to experience. But like, yeah, if you act what they pay you, they're in for a treat, because like minimum wage, you just have to just be sitting on your ass, honestly. But the problem with this, and the worst thing ever, is they make everything reliant on everything, right? Like when I worked retail and minimum wage, I worked my ass off. I went hard. I worked so hard because I knew I was moving to London and I knew that it was going to be hard to find a job here. So I worked so hard so I could get a good reference, because you can't really get a good job without a good reference. And I wanted to apply for places that weren't minimum wage. I didn't want to work minimum wage anymore. I wanted something that was at least living wage. So I really needed good references in order to get my best chances of getting a better paid job. And so I worked so hard. And I didn't even get a job because COVID happened when I got here. So it didn't even freaking matter. But like the fact that how you perform in your job currently impacts like the rest of your career effectively is so fucked up. And it's such a terrible way to like constantly make you overwork and exhaust yourself and put so much pressure and expectations on yourself. Your whole future shouldn't be reliant on the minimum wage job that you work. is all I'm saying. How they try to sell you the 40-hour work week is it's 40 hours of working and 128 hours of not working. So really, you're doing really well, obviously. That's barely any work. Except, obviously, you have to sleep. Which takes up a lot of time. So this one says sleep for 60 hours because I'm depressed that I can't pay my bills with my salary. And then you have a part-time job because you can't pay your bills with your salary, paid research studies because you can't pay your bill with your salary, selling your plasma because you can't pay your bills with your salary, cooking, eating, groceries to stay alive, that takes about 15 hours, side hustle because you can't pay your bills to pay salary. So then with all of that, your total time for your normal job, including commuting, is 48 hours. And then you have all the side hustles and selling your blood, etc. is another several hours. And then you've got eating, which takes 15 hours. And then you've also got cleaning your house and stuff, and then sleeping. And then you've got no time. Your whole week is gone. You've got nothing. And that is why the 40-hour work week is shocking and terrible for your mental health. And I really like that we're starting to implement the 4-day-a-week working thing. The same number of hours a day, so 8 hours a day, but only 4 days a week. And I agree, that is so much better. Having an extra day would be a massive relief. And you're meant to be paid the same for the 4-day work week as you are for the 5. But when you're working like shift work, etc., you don't have a salary, you have a pay per hour. So you have to work more days. And they do it on purpose. So you have to work more days. You don't get a set salary. You have to work a certain number of hours. And that's fucked. So that's why people have to work so many jobs and work for so many hours and sell their blood. A parking space in downtown Toronto makes $27 an hour. I, a real person with thoughts and feelings capable of suffering, makes less than a goddamn parking space. And people have to pay that to go to work too. Like, you pay more than your hourly wage just to park, to go to your freaking stupid job. And that's so, your work should have to pay for your parking. I don't care, your work should have to pay for your parking. Like, that's insane. That's ridiculous. The fact that they expect you to pay that is ridiculous, because they do expect you to pay that. And yeah, why is it $27 to park my car? Why does it cost that much? That is literally the most insane thing ever, especially when you don't give public transport as an option. When I worked at the mall, the parking was only $5, but I don't want to pay $5 because that's unfortunately a decent amount of money when you're working minimum wage. So all of us would park in the mall car park, right? And you're not allowed to park there for more than 4 hours or you get a $55 fine. So on all of our breaks, we would spend our first 10-minute break going and moving our cars so we wouldn't get a ticket, and then having to run back to work so we weren't late from our break. And if you didn't get it on time, $50 ticket, which, hack, if you didn't know, at least in New Zealand, I don't know about elsewhere, if you can prove you were at the mall and you spent money there, you can get out of your ticket. You just have to submit it. I only paid 2 of my parking tickets before I realized that this was a thing. If you have a receipt that you bought literally just anything in the mall, you can get out of it. Like, I would buy like a bottle of water from the supermarket and be like, I was at the mall. Or I would go to the freaking cinema and pick up tickets off of the ground and be like, I went to this movie. Can I share that? Am I gonna get in trouble? I'm not in New Zealand anymore. They can't do shit. It doesn't matter. If you prove that you were in the mall, then they can't ticket you. So use that to your advantage. You ever notice that it's socially acceptable to tell poor people how to spend their money, but when we ask the rich to stop hoarding wealth, the response is, it's their money? Yeah. I don't know why we like to tell poor people that they're not allowed to enjoy things and that they have to keep working harder and harder and harder and they're not working hard enough even though they're working themselves to death. And every time they even like look at something that they like, everyone yells at them like, why don't you be more wise with your money? You're complaining about not being able to pay rent and then you go and you like buy a burger? What the fuck? Like, are they not allowed to enjoy themselves? Are they not allowed to have things that they like? Because like your whole life shouldn't revolve around just being able to work. Telling someone that they can't do anything other than work is really fucked up. It's really fucked up. People should be able to enjoy things and do things that they like and buy things that they like. Why can billionaires have literally unlimited, infinite money and do whatever the fuck they want and that's their business? But then someone tries to like, just does one thing. One thing. They treat themselves one time and it's the end of the world and they're not allowed to complain about being poor ever again? Fuck you, man. Billionaires shouldn't hoard their wealth. They should be giving money to these people so they can do things that they enjoy. It's not just about being able to survive. I want people to be able to live. I want people to have comfortable lives and actually enjoy things. Like, paying people enough to just pay for rent and food isn't good enough. People need enough money to be able to do that no matter what, and then also be able to enjoy their lives. That's the bare minimum. I'm sorry, the bare minimum isn't just food, water, and housing. The bare minimum is being able to actually live and not just survive and fight to live and work to live. This is from Melbourne, Australia. Push to lower employment age. Retailers Association proposes putting 13-year-olds to work because the solution to having to increase minimum wage is child labor, so that you don't have to do that, because you don't have to pay kids for their work. They're children. What could they use money for? Don't hire people who actually need to pay rent and things. Hire children who are meant to be at school and like socializing and being children. Hire them instead. That's way better. And we know that the children that would have to do those jobs are the children of parents who can't get those jobs anymore because they've decided to hire children. Child labor, notoriously, very bad. Don't do that. Just increase your wages, okay? Or don't have a shop. Your profits are high enough. You're fine. You don't have to be a billionaire. You don't have to be a millionaire. Just let other people have any money, maybe. That would be cool. Thank you. Me explaining to my parents that I don't want a career, I just want to make enough money doing the least amount of work whilst funding my travels and living my best life in my 20s. Yes, I spent 3 years getting a degree, but I don't actually want to use it yet, and it's probably useless anyway because the world is a mess and all jobs suck. Exactly. I agree. Exactly. We've gotten to this place, as I said, where just like, I just want to make money to be able to live comfortably and just do kind of what I want, you know? A lot of people have this thought and want to live like this, and a lot of people see a problem with it, but I personally do not see a problem with it. I think it's fine. Rich people can do it. No one has a fucking problem with it. No one has a problem with rich people doing it. So why can't we aim to do that also? Why is that not a thing that we're able to do? I don't think people realize that people will continue to want to do jobs regardless of whether capitalism exists or not. Like, sure, money is a driving factor in why people want to be doctors, but at the same time, money is a reason why people can't be doctors. People can't afford the student loans, so they can't become doctors. You know what I mean? Like, there are some people who go into it because they want to earn good money, and then there are people who want to go into it to help people, but can't because they can't afford to pay for med school. So, like, you could really balance it out a little bit. It's an interesting thing. It's an interesting conversation. But basically, we should all have enough money, regardless of what you do, regardless of what you contribute to society. We should be able to have enough money to just do what we want to an extent. Those are my thoughts and feelings. People's idea of contributing to society are very different and very warped based on what we have been taught. So, yeah. Anyway. Thank you for coming along. I hope that you've enjoyed getting angry with me. I said more than I wanted to say and also less than what I wanted to say. I don't know if I made any sense. I wrote a script and I did not read it at all because, yeah, I get distracted. We all know this. A massive thank you to my Sprout and Above patrons whose names are up on the screen right now. And a huge, huge thank you to my Kiwi cat patrons. Wolf, Toulouse, Bobby, Sparrow, Josh, Robbie, Silly, Robin, The Alienated Librarian, Rosendo, and Akita. I love and appreciate you so, so much. Thank you so much for joining. If you would like to become a patron, you can join for as little as £1 a month and you get my videos a day early. Any tier higher than that, you get a bunch of different things like outtakes, bonus vlogs, and live streams, etc. Anything helps though. I really appreciate it. As the whole theme of this video has been capitalism. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi. Subscribe to my second channel, Kiwi with the Q. Like and subscribe. I appreciate you immensely. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. When you close your eyes, you replace the darkness with light. You replace the monsters with fairies. You replace them with love. Wolf, Toulouse, Bobby, Sparrow, Josh, Robbie, Silly, Robin, the alienated librarian, Rosendo, and Akita.